How many motherfuckers are ready for a 10-minute TDM? I raise your fucking hand. Well, welcome back, guys. I figured I'd go and do this commentary. I want to talk about something that just went down on YouTube just recently today. I usually skip over these videos, but seeing this one hit so close to home that it kind of... I just felt like I should shed some light on the situation. But it's more about ONLYUSEMEBLADES. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and say it. ONLYUSEMEBLADES got himself put into a precarious position, mainly because of his excessive drinking. And I'm not going to sit here on the throne and act like I know the guy and I know his best interests or what his life entails or what kind of life he's living. I don't know any of that. I don't. I've only met the guy like 15 times. Well, I've talked to the guy like 15 times. And I've met him once in real life. And for the most part, he seems like a pretty chill dude. And I see a lot of people advocating two points to ONLYUSEMEBLADES' little fiasco that has popped up recently. Point number one is that ONLYUSEMEBLADES is a racist. And point number two is that it's a shame how the YouTubers have fallen. Because if you never heard of him or don't know him, ONLYUSEMEBLADES at one point was one of the biggest Call of Duty YouTubers in the market. I mean, he was on the Bad Kid Show. I'm pretty sure most people know who ONLYUSEMEBLADES is. He's kind of like me. I always say this. I call myself the MC Hammer of YouTube because everybody knows of Wings of Redemption, but nobody buys my motherfucking albums. Not to say you guys are watching my video or buying my albums, but the idea is there. I have 500,000 subscribers with like 8 to 15,000 views a video. I mean, the subscriber to viewer ratio is way off, but you know, motherfuckers could have died. Literally. People could have died in the last 8 years. Automobile wrecks, cancer, mental health issues, suicide. I literally might have dead subscribers. But let's go back to the original point. I digress. ONLYUSEMEBLADES basically said some racially motivated things on his stream the other night while he was heavily inebriated. Inebriated means drunk off his ass. And I've known that Blade... I've known Blade for a while, and I was aware of his use of alcohol. His extracurricular use of alcohol was what I would consider borderline excessive. And I'm here just to kind of sit in his corner for just a little bit, mainly because you can't judge a person based off an action he takes at his lowest point. You're basing him off an action he took at, like, I don't know what time. It looked like somewhere in the middle of the night. He's on Skype. He's obviously drunk. He fell down in the video himself. He, like, cut his leg. He, like, passed out on the bed afterwards. I mean, I'm pretty much describing the video 2/4. But, and, you know, he was just upset. And I want to share a little story with me to kind of help you understand what his situation might be like. 2013. 2009 to 2010 were the golden years for Call of Duty commentary. And don't believe that anybody knew what the fuck we were doing. Because if I knew what I was doing back then, I'd be making fucking PewDiePie money now. But I don't. I freeballed everything. I didn't know what people liked. I didn't know why I was famous. I didn't know why people did things. I now more understand YouTube now in my down years than I did in my positive years. I personally started going downhill around the end of 2012 and the beginning of 2013. Beginning of 2013, Machinima cut funds for a number of reasons. I'm not going to go into that. But they dropped a lot of directors. And we all had really, really lavish contracts from Machinima. At one point, I was getting paid like $275 per 1,000 views. Which, keep in mind, I didn't sign an NDA, so I can't get sued for this. I even like, why didn't they make us sign an NDA? It's just a company that... It was a company run by people with gamer tags. Let's put it that way. But we were making lots of money, and at some point I was making 8 million views a month. Just do the math. And we were riding the Call of Duty trend. And it started going downhill for me personally in late 2000 because I stopped seeing YouTube as a hobby and started looking at it as a job. I remember crying the first time I got a paycheck from Machinima. My first paycheck was $27,000. And I was like... I sat there and looked at PayPal because they sent it to me in PayPal. It was for 3 months now. It wasn't 1 month pay. But I sat there, I'm like, oh my God. Like, this feeling went over me. It's like, That's more money than I've ever seen in my life. I grew up as a very poor person, so I'm adjusting to being very poor very easily because it's like, oh, the dream's over. Let's go back to normal living. But regardless, I sat there and looked at it, and like this thing I did for fun, because I did do it for fun up until about 2012. It was really had to do a lot with like Shalene and everything else and all this, and I mismanaged my money poorly. I made a lot of poor choices, poor decisions, and that on top of all the other people, I was trying to keep up with the Joneses. Trying to keep up with people's success. I remember I would watch my subscriber count, view count. It became to the point where everything was about views and money, subs and views, subs and views, subs and views. And I had started hating my life. I honestly did. And then 2013 happened. At least hating my life, I had a huge payday at the end of every month to look forward to. It's like, oh, well, here's the fruits of my labor. Well, you flip the script on that, all of a sudden, because toward the end I was making like 2.7 million or 3 million views a month, and that was equivalent of like I don't know, $7,000 or something like that. And in 1 month it goes like somebody shut a light switch off. All of a sudden, that $7,000 was $1,800 for the same amount of work, and that was putting in big work days. I'm talking about between playing, editing, uploading, creating content, dealing with writer's block, and balancing a personal life. It felt like 15-hour days, 7 days a week, just sleepless. I remember staying up nights just to get that third video out and fighting sleep and losing sleep, setting an alarm clock to wake up again just to make more YouTube videos. Because I was afraid of losing the lifestyle that I had, but I didn't really have a lifestyle. I was making money to spend money to make more money. It was silly. It was stupid. And I was losing money in restaurants and losing money in, professional gaming and things like that. And I never really got to enjoy it. So what ended up happening was there was like a period of a week where I didn't post anything, and it was wonderful. I didn't stress out. I didn't have anxiety. I didn't feel like I was on the verge of a breakdown every 3 seconds. And it kind of, from that point on, you can see it. It was February 2013. My video production slowed down dramatically. And I'm about to actually go for a talk here. And when it's slowing down dramatically, I started to get depressed. And then flash forward to 2000, and the end of 2013, I did FPS Boot Camp, which picked me up again. And a lot of people donated some really good money there. I think they donated like $8,000, which I ended up seeing 4,600 of. And I had Drew in my life. I was exercising. I was feeling good. Because just like Blade said in his video today, you can be all talk or you can be do. And it took me a while to understand that, to be all talk or be do. And and another thing that always comes to mind when that comes is something that Woody always says, that some people look for faults like there's a reward in it. And I was that person for a long time. I would look for faults like there was a reward in it instead of looking for solutions. Pointing out the fault in something now doesn't help change it. What helps change it is suggestions, ideas, actions. And even though I'm probably the heaviest I've ever been weight-wise, there's people who want the weight update. I'm like 440 right now. I'm right back at the boot camp weight. And that has mainly to do with bipolar disorder and things of that nature. And me using food as a substitute to mount anything else. And then you crash. You always crash. And you'll see it crash when you're like fuck it, I give up, and you just lay in bed all day and you sleep 13 hours. I think I went to bed yesterday at like 4 p.m. and I woke up at 5 a.m. this morning. I mean, that's pretty much my normal sleep schedule right now. And it's like the only time that differs is when I do the podcast show and I stay up the extra hours there. I mean, last week when I did the podcast show, I just went right the fuck to sleep right after it. Like, as soon as it ended, I jumped off the call. I don't even think I said goodbye. Went right to bed and fell asleep because I was exhausted. But that's deal with depression. And even though I'm taking Prozac and things like that, doctor's visits. Doctor's visits cost money, especially if you don't have insurance. And it's like, they help me. They help me tremendously. I'm turning this into a pity party, woe is me, but it's not supposed to be that at all. I don't want it to be that. the point I want to make is you can't call somebody washed up until they've given up completely. And I don't see Blade as giving up completely. I don't. I see Blade as a person that understands his actions. He understands what he does. He understands the consequences of his actions. I see a dude that is street smart and possibly book smart. I don't know his education level. That will turn his life around. And that's what I tell myself every day when I do this. I don't do these videos for 10,000 views. I do these videos for the hopes of people enjoying them at this point in my life, because 10,000 views is nothing. I'm back to the point where I have to use my channel as stepping stones and get back to where it's a sustainable career again. And yes, I've been living off like Twitch donations for the last 6 months or so, and it makes you feel like shit. It honestly does. You ever want to feel like shit? There's two things that you can do, and I've done them both. You can be on unemployment, or you can live off the grace of others. And to be where I was at, and to be the person that I look back at now and despise, I hated myself. If I would beat the Jordy in 2012's ass. I don't know if I physically could beat his ass, but I'd want to mentally. And I would look at myself and discuss and I'm just impressed that people still watch me. Because there's lots of videos I would not do today. There's lots of things I wouldn't do today. But it all comes with a growing process. And you got to understand, this is a growing process. And to make comments talking about somebody's washed up, or somebody's a racist, or trying to drag their name through the mud. And I know it looks like I'm doing that too right now, making a video on this subject, bringing more light to it. That's why I usually skip over these things. Because I'm like, dude's in a bad spot. You know, if I make a video, it'll help me out view-wise, but it won't do anything but hurt him. And I don't like hurting people like that. I've always been an advocate that life is about who you love and how much you love them. How much impact you put on other people's lives. And I don't want to be the guy that people look at and be like, I wish I never met that dude. I'd much rather be the guy that people go to work and be like, fuck yeah, I'm working with Jordy today. That's the person I want to be. And I'm not that person, but I'm trying to be him. If that makes sense. I think that's all I can say. This is my support, dude. The video's ran over longer than I thought it would. I didn't plan on doing this video today, so this is off the cuff. But, stay strong, dude. Remember that you only really lost when you give up. And that's it. I mean, like, you can have your highs and lows. Life is about highs and lows, valleys and peaks, valleys and peaks. You're in the valley now. So the only thing you do is to climb up the mountain again and get back to the peak. As long as you keep living, everything's going to be okay.
Friendly chopper inbound.